Artem, what's up, brother? All right. All righty. All right, everybody. We're going to go ahead and get started. I want to welcome everybody who is on the call today. I am the coach on behalf of the PFL. We appreciate your time, your support, your coverage of the PFL. It's certainly been a great year. The reason for today, PFL Champions, the rematch, the road to Dubai. How we're going to do it today. 8 different fighters are going to join us, 2 at a time. I'll ask them each one question, and then Tani will take it and call on those of you in the media that have a question for the 2 fighters that are on the screen as we go. So we'll get started. We'll do about 10 or 15 minutes with each fighter or until the questions end if it is shorter than that. So we're going to start with our first 2 fighters here. As you can see on the screen, it's going to be incredible to have Sabera Tukagov and Artem Lobov a part of this event. Artem, I want to start with you. Opening question. It's been a long time since we've seen you in an MMA cage. What kind of prompted your return for this event? All right, I think Artem, you're on mute, buddy. If you can just hit your mute button there, it should be right there in the bottom left. There you go.
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you now. Perfect. Go ahead, sir. You bet.
Sorry about that. Yeah, so this fight was meant to happen in 2018. This is a big fight, a lot of interest in this fight. We have to finish this chapter off. I said it all the way back in an interview with Ariel Helvania that this is a must fight. It has to happen. It was a very interesting fight for the public, for everyone, for ourselves. I mean, UFC had it as a co-main event in Canada. Yourself, if the UFC has a co-main event, that tells you everything you need to know about the reach of this fight and the public interest in this fight. So, we have to finally, finish this off. There's no point doing the talking. Let's do the fighting. We're fighters. We've seen them approach me with 10 guys. So let's now see how it goes one-on-one.
I love it. I love that energy. I love the attitude. Let's go over to Zubera for a second. As Artem said, Zubera, we'll have Alex translating today. This is a long time in the making. This fight, everybody wants to see it. It's part of a huge card. How does it feel for you now that this fight's been made?
Зубайра, вопрос тебе. Как Артем уже сказал, этот бой уже давно нагревался, созревал. Наконец-таки вы на карде, ваш бой состоялся. Для тебя насколько этот бой является долгожданным?
Честно, вот просто спортивный интерес. Раз уже назначили, выйдем, подеремся. Наконец-то этот бой состоится. Интересный бой для зрителей, для публики. Многие ждут этого боя.
I think as well it's a long time coming. It's a very promising fight for public, for audience, for both of us. We have a little thing to settle, so I think it's going to be exciting for everybody involved.
It's always a good thing when there's something to settle, isn't it, ladies and gentlemen? All right, we're going to open it up for questions now to all of you that are on the call. Tani will handle that and calling you guys one-on-one. We'll do questions for the next 10 or 15 minutes. So, Tani, if you want to get started with the media, please.
Thanks, Coach. Gabriel, please kick us off.
Thank you. This is Gabriel Gonzalez for Cage Side Press. A question for both Artem and Zubaira. Both of you haven't fought in a while. Can you just talk a little bit about the layoff and getting yourself back ready for a fight after some time away?
Зубайра, ты давно уже не выступал, у тебя перерывы были. Можешь вкратце описать, как у тебя лагерь проходит, как ты занимался, в какой ты сейчас форме?
Да, давно уже, почти 3 года я не дрался. Лагерь проходит в высшем уровне, если не лучше, точно не хуже, чем обычно подготовился. Я уверен, что лучше подготовка у меня. Я уверен в себе, и я уверен, что покажу хороший бой.
Yes, indeed. It's been 3 years since I was fighting last, and but I have a great camp right now. It's not any worse, not any better than before. I'm back on the track. We have full camp right now, and I'm looking forward to it.
And for Artem, can you talk a little bit about what's it been like to get yourself back ready for a fight after a long time?
Yeah, definitely it's been interesting, but to be honest with you, I've enjoyed the time off. I felt I needed it, as you know, towards the end of my career, I was doing bare knuckle, very intense sport, very demanding on the body, and demanding mentally as well. You're going into a blender, fists are flying, blood everywhere, it's a difficult, sport. So I felt I needed a little break. I was done with it. As you know, I was done with MMA, with fighting, with everything. I really, really needed the break. But after a while, it's fighting is something that's in my blood. I love fighting. I think when you watch my fights, you can tell that I love fighting. I don't have to say that to anybody. They can see it from the way my fights go. So once I got a little break, I started feeling those feelings again, the adrenaline, that the wanting to feel that adrenaline again. And obviously, this was a big fight that I had to have. We just absolutely had to put this fight together. We had to tick that box off. So it was incredible to go back into camp, get that camaraderie again. I missed all the boys. I did see them a little bit, obviously, in my time off, but not as much. Now I've been in camp again, going from training to training, seeing all the coaches again, seeing all the sparring partners again, all the training partners. Honestly, I've been really, really enjoying it. It's been great for my son to see me as well in a fight camp. He's never really seen me before in a fight camp. When I was fighting bare knuckle before, he was only a baby. So, that's also an important part for me, because obviously I always talk to my son about training, but now I get a chance to actually show him how it's done, show him what it's like to be in fight shape, show him what daddy can actually do. So, yeah, I felt great, being back, and, it's been a good camp, and I look forward to putting on a show as I always have done.
One final question for both of you. Obviously, the fight comes together because you two were part of a very big moment between, the rivalry with Habib and Conor McGregor. Now that it has been several years later, would you guys do anything different or wish things had happened differently now that it's been years removed since everything that happened and you were part of the story in the rivalry?
Зубайра, понятное дело, что ваша история с Артемом началась еще давно, когда был конфликт у Хабиба и Макгрегора. Спустя это время, смотря назад, ты бы хотел, чтобы как-то по-другому все сложилось, или, в принципе, как есть, так и есть? Это про ваши отношения с Артемом.
Никаких принципов нету, ничего такого подобия нету. То, что было ситуация в Нью-Йорке 6 лет назад, то, что это было, это давно закрытая история. Тут просто стоит спортивный интерес, и все, не более. Если было бы что-то, я, претензии, если у меня было бы кому-то, я столько не сидел бы дома.
I wouldn't say we are still at the same level of bad blood right now. It's been 6 years ago. I kind of let it already pass. If I would have bad feelings, we would definitely solve that within those 6 years. So for me right now, it's all pure sport.
And then for Artem as well, just your thoughts on everything?
Yeah, well, for me, like, how can it be over if we didn't get a chance to actually fight? Obviously there was a lot of things said, a lot of things happened, but I feel that the story wasn't over yet. We spoke a lot about it, and we have to finish it with a fight. That's what we do. We're fighters. Words don't mean as much as action do. So we have to get in there and fight. So for sure, to me, I feel the story is not over until we go into that cage and put the fight on. And then we get to see what's what. We've seen a lot of action from Zubaira when he was talking to me, telling me to say it to his own face, when there was 10 guys there. Well, now there's going to be one-on-one, and I'll finally get a chance to say it to his face, and he can say whatever he wants to my face too, and we finally get to close that chapter, the right way. That's the way it should be done. It shouldn't be just this is too big of a story to not have a fight at the end.
Thank you.
Thanks, Gabriel. Just so you guys know, if we could please keep it to 2 questions each so we can get, through the most people, that would be awesome. Jake.
Get my mic going. Hey guys, Artem, I'll start with you real quick, just because piggybacking off of what you just said there, with the fight being in the books after this one, do you guys shake hands afterwards? Will the dust be settled then?
Yeah, I mean, I think once we have a fight, that's it. After the fight, what else is there? The fight is the ultimate kind of, it's the pinnacle of an argument. You know what I mean? You can shout and scream, whatever, but once you have a fight, well, that's it. That's the way it happens, you know, everywhere. You want to see Animal Kingdom, 2 lions fight. Once the fight is over, that's it. They go their separate ways. So to me as well, I just have to get this fight in. I want to see him one-on-one. I want to feel him in that cage. I want to see what he can do. I want to see, can he back up his words? I want to show that I can back up mine. And once it's finished there, then that's it. Then it's over. We shake hands and move on.
And then last one for me, flipping it to Zabaria. You guys kind of gave different answers here in terms of, is the dust settled? Is the beef behind you guys? So hearing Artem's response there, do you then realize or think to yourself, okay, maybe this isn't over. Maybe I got to come into this with a little more bad blood, or is it still to you just a fight?
Зубайра, Артем немножко по-другому выразился. Он говорит, что та еще история не закончена у вас. Ультиматум будет провести бой, как везде в животном мире происходит. Если есть конфликт, то он заканчивается боем, и потом уже после боя можно руки потрясти, но бой должен обязательно состояться, и у вас еще не закрытый вопрос. Ты как на этот момент можешь ответить?
Если не закрытый вопрос, надо закрывать им. Он хочет в октагоне закрывать, тогда скоро бой состоится, и закроет.
Yes, if that's something that has been unsettled yet, if it's still open topic, we definitely have to go to the octagon and close this question over there. I agree with that.
Sean Sheehan.
Hi, Sean Sheehan from Sherlock.com. Just 2 quick questions for Artem. Artem, first of all, how different of a fighter are you now from the last time you fought? Like, I know you've been with Richie Smullen and different people for years. How big is it working with guys like him, and how different of a fighter are you now to win the last time you fought?
Well, definitely Richie has helped me a lot in preparation for this camp. He's reached next level, of wrestling, grappling, striking, everything. He's the highest level fighter out there. I actually cannot wait to for the world to see what he can do in there. He's been showing a little bit, but it's a lot. We actually, between ourselves, we kind of call him like, he's like a Khabib. That's how good his wrestling, and control and fighting is right now. So for me to have him in this camp, preparing me for those wrestling exchanges, preparing me for that takedown defense, for those, get-ups from the floor if I get taken down, it's been incredible. It's like having the highest level, fighter on a daily basis. So that definitely has helped me a lot. I wish I had Richie like this sooner, that Richie was that level sooner and he could really prep me and talk me through all the little details and all the technicalities of MMA, wrestling, and grappling. So I'm definitely a lot better prepared for that side of things, But in terms of my stand-up and everything, it's going to be as aggressive as ever. I'm going to come forward, hands down, swinging from the hip, looking to knock him out. That's never going to change.
Mm-hmm. Another thing, you mentioned in an interview that you were talking about going up to train with Paul Hughes and the lads above the north. Did you manage to do that? And if you did, how was it?
Yeah, to be honest, unfortunately, I haven't been able to get up there, just with camp and everything, it's been very intense. I had little, injuries here and there, nothing too serious, that kind of stopped me from training, but it had prevented me from, going up north, because that's something you have to commit the whole day to. It's 2 hours up, training there, 2 hours back down. It's definitely a day where you can only do 1 session. So everything got in the way. I really wanted to get up there. Maybe in the future I will still do it. I know the boys have a great team up there and some very high level fighters. But unfortunately, this time I didn't get a chance to go up there.
Thanks, Artem. Thank you.
Damon Martin.
2 quick questions for Artem. Artem, I remember talking to you after you retired the first time, and a big part of that was your, not taking damage. You wanted to be around for your son. You want to be around for your family. Can I ask kind of like what changed? And is this like a one-time deal, or is this like one and see what happens? Like, are you back, or how are you looking at this?
Well, for now, just this fight. Obviously, you have to take it one fight at a time, especially when you're 39. Let's see how the body holds up. But in terms of taking damage and all that, yeah, of course, that is still always at play. However, if you look at Zubaira's fights, let's be honest, there's not that much damage being delivered. He's obviously got very specific style. It's effective. He's achieved some good things. With it, he got some good wins. With it, but it's not that dangerous. It's a takedown. He holds you down. He's got good control. But that's kind of the fight. So for me, taking a fight like this, that's never. It can be frustrating to be in a fight like this, especially if you're unable to, get up and get something going. It can be very frustrating for sure. But in terms of dangerous, it's probably less dangerous than, well, certainly my bare knuckle fights, let's say, or some of the other fights that I was doing, even in the UFC. This is not a Cub Swanson fight, let's say. Cub Swanson, let's say you're going in, there's going to be 100 shots flying your way. It's going to be, very dangerous. You're going to be taking a lot of damage, Whereas with Zubaira, it's not a fight like this. You have to be very strategic in your approach, for sure. You have to be very technical. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of difficult situations to, get up and defend the takedowns. But in terms of actual damage, I don't think it's that risky, compared to some of the other fights that I have done in the past.
And Artem, I know that so much of the narrative of this fight started around the Conor and Khabib stuff, and I know your relationship with Conor has dramatically changed since then. I won't ask you any personal questions about that, but you are boots on the ground. Can I ask, what did you make of Conor running for president of Ireland and then dropping out? Because I think everyone's kind of reacted to that over the past day or so.
President running for president is something that we have spoken, all the way back. One of the reasons even for even arranging for me to arrange a meeting with Vladimir Putin, with President Putin for Conor, that all had those kind of, future aspirations, running for president, you want to establish some contacts, in the political world, and obviously Vladimir Putin, is one of the kind of main figures in politics, worldwide. So we always spoke about that. However, this time around, I support the decision to withdraw because I don't think Conor is in the right space right now, not in the right mindset, to run for president. He has to get his ducks in a row first. We've seen him, he pulled out of even the press conference. Like, that's not Conor. I know Conor that showed up to fight for the interim belt with no legs. Both of his ligaments were torn in both of the knees. He was completely unable to walk and still showed up. That's the Conor I know, and that's the Conor that people believe would make a good president. And I agree, that Conor for sure would make a great president and would address all the issues that need to be addressed right now in Ireland. However, I don't think he's in the right mind frame right now to run for president. There's a lot of things that he needs to fix before he can take on such an important role. So I see it as a good thing, him dropping out.
Thank you, Artem.
Thank you.
All right, last question for these guys. Mike Pendleton, please.
Start with Artem. Artem, what have you learned about yourself as a person? You talked a lot about, wanting your family, your children to see you and see you training and fighting. What have you learned about yourself as a person since 2018 when this whole thing started?
Not sure about learning something about me as a person, but yeah, there's some things you left with some regrets or whatever. But then actually, when I start to think about it, I realize, listen, no matter what happens in life, maybe you would like to change a certain moment and do something else, but you don't know, and that particular moment might be better, but you don't know where else that's going to take you then. You don't know how your life is going to turn out. So for me, if I was giving advice to myself in the past, where I just say, listen, don't feel so bad for bad things that happen to you and celebrate the victories a little bit more, But other than that, there's no point saying I'll change this or that or the other. Obviously in future, I will approach certain things certain way. I've taken some serious lessons from those moments. However, I wouldn't change anything. It is what it is. I was in that situation because I had my brother's back. There's no other way I could have left those very serious words that Khabib was saying about Conor. Another very important fact is that Khabib was the first one that started, going at Conor like this. We always were friendly with Khabib. Anytime we saw each other at shows, always, went up, shook hands. Everything was very friendly. And then at one point he decided that, to promote himself, he wanted to go at Conor. And for me personally, there was no way I could just, let those words go and not address it and not say it when I'm being asked directly, even if it's in Russian, even if Conor would have never seen it, doesn't matter. I always have my brother's back no matter what. So in that sense, it is what it is. I feel with this whole fight, with this whole situation, there's definitely enough talking. It's time to just fight. Let's get in the cage and let's go.
Last question, just for both of you, really quickly, if you can. Why did the PFL make the most sense to finally settle this rivalry? What was it about being a part of the PFL and on this card that made sense for both of you?
Зубара, почему ты решил принять этот бой? Почему ты решил с PFL подписаться и хочешь этот вопрос уже закрыть?
Ну, у меня... я просто хотел драться, соскучился боям. Решил просто вернуться, подраться и просил вот этот бой в PFL. Общий бой просил, они мне предложили этого соперника, я согласился. Я именно определенного соперника не просил, я просто хотел драться и все.
As for me, it was most of all I wanted to come back and have a fight. It's been a minute, so I asked PFL to give me a good fight, a worthy fight. It's not necessarily was going to be with Artem originally. I just wanted any opponent, but obviously the way it played out, we have the situation, and I think it's a great fight.
Yeah, so for me personally, I wanted this exact fight. I started looking around because before I had received the video message from the president of Chechnya, Ramzan Kadyrov, and he invited me over, and he was with Zubair in the video and saying, look, come over to Chechnya. We're going to put on a good show here. I know they've got a big promotion, ACA. It's one of the leading promotions in Russia. So it's a very big promotion. They put on some big fights. So that was my initial, reaction. I tried to reach out to them, but then I was told that Zubair had signed with PFL. So then I reached out to PFL, and they were happy to make the fight. This is a massive fight, and from Zubair's perspective, is definitely he has to be happy with how big this fight is because. If you look at his career, there hasn't been too many, big fights for him. Whereas this fight will be watched worldwide. The whole world is watching. Russia, of course, and not just Russia. The whole world knows about this fight, and the whole world will be watching. So, as a fighter, if he's coming back, and wants to build his career, those are the kind of fights you want to be involved in. There's no point fighting a fight where only two people are watching. You wanna, when I fight, the world watches, and nowadays it's gonna be me and Zubair fight, and the world will be watching. So,
That's exactly the attitude we want. Thank you both to Artem and Zubair for the time today, guys. We wish you the best of luck. Travel safe to Dubai, and we'll see you guys in a couple of weeks. All right.
Thank
you guys
Thank
very
you
much. Really good start. Thank you guys very much for the questions. We're going to move on to our next two fighters now, and this is going to be an absolute firefight. Two bantamweights, Kalen Loughran and Jack Cartwright. We're going to bring them up on the screen right here. Kalen, let's start with you. As soon as we get you up here, how you doing, man? Looking great, looking fresh, looking healthy. I like it. There. Which team is that?
My own jersey.
Oh, it's your own jersey. I like it. All right.
Yeah,
you've got a new opponent. Let's start with you. Thoughts on McGrillen pulling out and on your new matchup?
I don't give a fuck. But listen, I told him several times. I put on my Instagram story. I told him every time he talks shit. I replied to him, "You will pull out." I still have the screenshots of him. He doesn't believe me. I said, "You will pull out." Said it to him maybe 5 times, and he did. So very quickly, it becomes who's next, and in my opinion, probably a harder fight. So yeah, I can't be dwelling on the past. Didn't fight, so fuck him. I have a probably more dangerous fight, I think, now.
Oh, a lot of respect there. I like it. Let's come over to Jack Cartwright. Jack, you got called in on short notice. You got to like hearing that. And your thoughts on this fight coming up on October 3rd?
Yeah, I'm excited for it. It's short notice, but I train all year round. I've not stopped training all year, so I'm happy to jump in on like short notice. 3 weeks is plenty of time as we've got it on a catch weight. So, yeah, I'm happy. I'm excited for it. I'm ready to go.
Oh, very good. Tony, go ahead.
All right, Sean Sheehan, please.
First of all, to Jack. Jack, I believe yourself and Kaelin sparred not too long ago. How did that go, and what do you think it'll tell about the fight coming up?
We didn't spar. We've not sparred, have we, Kaelin?
It was
We've done a
we
little bit of
2 minute
boxing.
kickboxing warm up round.
Yeah, we've done a little bit of touchy kickboxing sparring and a couple of positional round grappling.
Yeah.
I believe he did a full on like MMA spar with Lewis, and he had like his little thing with him. We didn't have like a full on like in the cage fight sort of spar. He's come down. We'd had a couple of rounds, like I said, like just like touchy feely sparring and like a couple of like you start in this position, I start in that position, grappling around. So we've had a feel of each other. He's felt me, I felt him. I've seen a couple of his threats. He's seen a couple of mine. It's one of them. Do you know what I mean? He trains not too far from where I live, so he's been down to the gym a couple of times. So yeah, that is what it is. I'm not taking too much from sparring, because some people are shit in sparring and brilliant in a fight, and some people are brilliant in sparring and shit in a fight. So it's like, what you're really going to do with that information? Like, he knows how big I am and my body type, and I know how big he is in his body type. I guess that's basically what you can take from that, really. But he might have his perception of what happened in them exchanges, and I might have my perception in those exchanges. But I'm not basing the whole sort of his whole game off what I saw in those sessions in the gym. If that makes sense.
Jack, just for you, is this an opportunity for you, I suppose, to get your career back on track? Like when you're in Cage Warriors, everyone looked at you as like the guy who's going to go on and go to the PFL or the UFC and go on a great run, and kind of it went a bit sideways for a while going to Octagon. Is this your opportunity, big fight with Kaelin, to get maybe into one of the tournaments and to go and be a world champion in a big organization?
Well, that's why I'm here. Do you know what I mean? I've constantly looked to fight the best guys available for myself to fight. I wouldn't be in the sport if I didn't do that. Do you know what I mean? Kaelin's a good guy. Do you know what I mean? He is what he is. And I'm happy to fight him. Do you know what I'm saying? It is what it is, man. He's a good fighter. He's had a good career up to this point. I think I'm better than him. Do you know what I'm saying? But I'm going to think that I'm better than like anybody that I'm going to be fighting. I don't think that I've fought someone who I'm not better than. Do you know what I mean? I don't think I've ever met a bantamweight who's as good as I am. But that's why I'm a fighter. Do you know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's the plan. Go in, beat him, wish him all the best after the fight. But I'm going in there to earn it and win and move on with my career. Like you say, I'm happy to be with PFL. I'm happy to be fighting on a big card. Like I said, they asked me if I could fight on. They said 3rd of December, and I was like, 3rd of December. I'm sure he's fighting in October, and then I was like, just don't triple check it. And he said, no, you're right. It's in 3 weeks. So I said, fuck, go on then, let's go, let's do it. Can we do it at 140 so I don't have to boil my ass down to 135? He said, yeah, no worries. And Kaelin accepted, so we've got a fight.
And just one for Kaelin. Kaelin, obviously, it feels like every fight you have now is on short notice. You said this is a tougher fight. Could you describe the matchup, the difference in the matchup between Lewis and Jack, and why it's tougher?
Well, I suppose the most obvious one is going from Lewis as a southpaw backhand, and Jack's not a southpaw. Lewis just like repeatedly throws left hand, so of course you were like drilling specifically for that. But yeah, just change it up. So I'm in like elite physical condition at the minute. My pace over 3 5-minute rounds. Like I can't I don't think many 135ers alive if will fit to keep that pace for 15 minutes. So I'm confident to fight. So it definitely changes up with Lewis. His style is not really like Jack's, other than they both can punch. I think Jack's probably a bit more in his punch, so that's probably why I think he's even more dangerous. I think I can beat both, but Jack's probably a bit of a bigger punch than Lewis.
Okay. Thanks, lads.
Paul Brown.
What's the crack, guys? Paul Brown here, Fighters Only. Kaelin, what's the story, my man? How are you? Quick one about just how the fight came about. Obviously, we've seen how the fight with Lewis got pulled, and you guys were going at it a little bit in the lead up to that, where you were tagging each other in Instagram stories. How quick did the timeline of all of that play out? How quick was Jack's name thrown in front of you, and just talk to me a little bit about that.
Well, I actually don't know when Lewis pulled out. I found out about it on Saturday morning, and I was offered 3 names, and I said yes to 3 names. I got offered Jack, Jack Cartwright, Renat Havilov, and your man who fought Laplas, can't remember, is it Ali Taleb, said yes to all three. And I think by about, must have been about 5, 6 o'clock, it was all sorted on the Saturday. Like, so, lad, I've been here, my UFC debut, it came out on the Monday night. My opponent pulled out. I told them, I'll fight anyone you want. Got it on the Tuesday. The 10 days before my UFC Manchester, my opponent pulled out and said ticket. So I wasn't going to start changing it up now, you know what I mean?
And just one for Jack. Jack, absolutely great to see you back. It's been a year since you fought. You were matched to fight Igor Severino a couple of times, and when I mentioned to a friend on Saturday that you were actually going to be fighting Kalen, a couple of people said to me, "Is he not still signed with Octagon?" So can you just explain to us what was the situation with Octagon and how did it end up here?
They had me on a one-fight deal. And I got an injury. So simple as that, really. Do you know what I mean? They had me on. I pulled out twice. I'd never pulled out before, man. But my body just failed me, man. And
Don't
I
pull
had
out
to.
now, lad. I'll be
Oh,
fucked
don't worry, bro.
after get another one.
Don't worry, man. I'll be there. Don't you worry about that, man. I'll be there, man. But yeah, but I've been in camp all year. That's the frustrating thing, man. Like fighters know that it ain't cheap to live this life. You know what I mean? And you get paid when you fight. So I've had to have some like hard conversations here and there, man, and just had to just stick it out, and be like, trust me, something's coming along the way. Something will come along the way, and you have those conversations with yourself, and then the proposition got put to me. Boom, about this then on 3 weeks' notice, and you have to just, like he said, man, like full respect. He got sent my name, and he's trained with me before. He knows I'm not shit. He's coming out there saying I'm better than Lewis, this, that, and the other, blah, 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 blah. He knows what. We've both felt each other in the on the mats there. So I'm happy that he's took this fight. And yeah, like I said, they had to be on like a little 10-day thing, like after my pullout. They had me on like a little thing where it's like I couldn't re-sign with another organisation for a certain amount of time, like a cooling off period sort of deal. So I was just waiting around on that, and then once that had come through, the Europe card, I was kind of gearing up to as if I was going to go on that, and then they didn't really have space for me on the card, but I was just still in the gym, just training all the time as if I was fighting, because I thought something will come along, and then something came along. So I said yes, boom, and we're locked and loaded, ready to go.
Right, cheers, boys.
Nice one.
Jacob.
This question is for Caleb. In your vlog, you had said that if you got a win over Lewis, you'd be looking at a possible title shot. Does that still apply here with the replacement in Jack?
I don't really know. Lewis had like the European title and stuff, and had a bit of a name in the PFL. So I think I'd probably need one more, to be honest. Now, lad, Lewis was like, I made this like a perfect debut, like, because I didn't really rate him that highly, but he had like hype and talk behind him. But I'd won in the PFL, he had the PFL belt, so I don't know. Probably would need one more else the tournament now, if I'm being honest, lad, unfortunately.
Awesome. And then for Jack, if you're able to get a win here, where does this take you in your PFL career? And then are you looking to get in right away?
Yeah, I'm looking to get in right away. Like I said, I've been through camps all year, man, and with no benefit from doing it. Do you know what I mean? So I want to go in, obviously beat Kalen, and then boom, on to the next one. I've never been picky, do you know what I mean? Anytime people have offered me fights, it's always just been yes, yes, yes. I've never negotiated who I'm fighting and who I'm not. So I'd be open to what the next plan is realistically. But all my sights are set on him. Do you know what I mean? Like all my plan is just strictly on him. Like I'm not bothered about what's next, all that sort of crap. I'm not asked. I'm here to deal with him on the third. That's it.
Thanks, guys. Best of luck to both of you.
Nice one.
Gabriel.
Start with Kalen. It's just not often that we see a contender coming off a win in the UFC and they don't stick with the promotion. Can you just talk a little bit about the opportunity that PFL gave and maybe a little bit of negotiations why switching homes ended up being what happened for you?
Yeah, that was the fourth fight of my deal with the UFC. I became a free agent. I didn't really go back to the UFC for like talking for a couple of weeks because they put me through the extra media and they put me through the the drug testing came like 2 weeks after the fight and stuff, and I was like, just leave it to it. Came back to Sean Shelby, and he was being a bit of a fucking tight ass, to be brutally honest with you. So we just were, one thing led to another. We got talking to Dan Hardy. They offered me the opportunity to go in and make a lot of money over the next year and a half, win a world title. They're a big stronghold in Belfast now with Paul's success. So yeah, they offer some all over the world. Obscure offers from Russia and stuff, but after one or two conversations with Dan Hardy and the PFL, my mind was pretty much made up, and it's proved to be the best decision I ever made. I think, glad to be honest, I.
And then for Jack, you've touched on a little bit, but I am wondering, how has preparation been? Obviously, it was 2 injuries that kept you out of being able to have that fight with Igor in Octagon. So when you've had that kind of struggle all year, does training change to make sure, hey, like you said, you can't have that payoff and make sure you do get to fight night after you've had some struggles getting to the cage this year?
Not like I train all year. I'll train all year anyway. Like I said, it was a couple of weeks out from the original fight, and I got like a staph infection, and I was fucked. So that is what it is. Do you know what I mean? I had like a hole in my leg. It weren't right. Do you know what I mean? And everyone around me is like, fuck this. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're not healthy. You won't even make the weight. Do you know what I mean? I couldn't start running. Couldn't do anything like that. So that was an old drama. And then I'd got an injury. Say, I don't know now. It was again like 2 or 3 weeks before the last fight that I was supposed to be having, and yeah, that took me out for about 3 weeks. So in reality, I had a staph infection, couldn't train for 3 weeks. I had an injury, couldn't train for 3 weeks. But since like November last year, I've been training, so I've had like 6 weeks break. So it is what it is. Obviously, like, I'd be foolish to sit here and say it wouldn't have been helpful for someone to be like, oh, right, you're fighting this guy in 8 weeks and everything's specific for this guy and you're training, because don't you, exactly what's going on. So, but again, like, he's been training for a little southpaw all the fucking time, same height as him, southpaw, who's just going to try and stick a left hand on his chin with not the same grappling credentials that I've got, not the same threats that I've got in those positions. He's never going to have to worry about him trying to take him down and submit him. He's just going to worry about him turn it into a dogfight and sticking his left hand on his chin. And he's done well with it, to be fair. But that was his kind of worry with Lewis. Whereas with me, he's got a lot more things to kind of worry about, and he knows that, which is why he's alluded to the fact that it's a harder fight. But it's like 3 weeks notice. The hardest thing about the 3 weeks notice is the weight, but we've got it at a catch weight, so can't really complain too much about that.
Thank you.
All right, guys, that's going to be the last question for these two. Guys, I really appreciate the time. You guys are amazing, respectful. Can't wait for October 3rd. So, Kaylin and Jack, thank you very much. And you guys travel safe over there, okay? And thank you to Jack for taking that fight on short notice. All right, we're going to bring in next our co-main event of the evening, a 5-round battle. Can't wait for this one in the lightweight division. Obviously, championship quality all the way around. Corey Anderson, who looked great in his last fight. Dovlet Yakshimuradov, who had a first-round finish in his last fight. Both fighters are on the screen, as you see now. Corey, let's start with you. Your thoughts on Dovlet and how his style kind of matches up with yours.
He's another opponent. He's going to come out, throw big, as he always does. He throws a big right hand with an overhand or uppercut. You got the spinning stuff, and just like everything, I just got to be ready. Stay on my P's and Q's. Make sure the blades are sharp all around, so wherever you throw, I got an answer for it.
All right, very good. Dovlet, let's come over to you. We will have, I believe, Alex will jump in here. You finished your last opponent in the first round. Do you expect the same type of quick finish against Corey Anderson?
Давлет, последний бой ты удосрочил в первом раунде, нокаутировал оппонента. На этот бой у тебя вскоре примерно такой же план?
Ну, я план никогда не составляю, я просто выхожу драться, а там как она будет, так и будет. То есть для меня нету там досрочить или что, для меня чисто выйти подраться. А там как получится, как суждено, так и будет. Чисто показать бой хороший.
Well, obviously we can plan a lot of things, but here we have to play it out by the ear when we get in the cage. My plan is to win. I'll have to see what he has to bring to the table. We'll settle it in the octagon.
All right, very good, gentlemen. We're going to open up the questions. Tani, I'll let you take it.
Thanks, Coach. Let's get started with Tim Wheaton.
Mr. Corey Anderson, I wanted to ask you if you could elaborate just a little bit more. I wanted to know more about rabbit and squirrel hunting.
The good life, babies. Now you talking my language. Y'all start talking. Y'all get me excited. See the smile on my face? Nah, man, that's it. We can talk more about the rabbit hunt. I popped a few squirrels, but the rabbit hunt, that's the fun part. You get the beagles. We go out to the train track. You hear dogs start chasing. And the rabbits come running across the track. Get that 12 gauge. Blah! Go out there, ring it, put it in the bag.
Absolutely awesome stuff. Now, this is going to be a rematch. So what unique factors are you preparing for? Because he's coming in this match for revenge.
I mean, of course, that's the biggest thing. You know, and it's not the first time you fight him. You fight him, and you didn't just beat him, you finished him the first time. So 100% you want to get back for that. That's payback. And then his style is, like I say, he throws the big shots. He got the spinning stuff. He's out there at HET, the big gym is big on calf kicks. If you guys seen a Nemkov 2 fight, you already knew that's how Nemkov kind of like shut me down with the calf kicks. So that's something you got to be prepared for. So you just got to be ready for everything from the calf kicks to the right hand to the big left hooks and just stay on my toes. You know, if you get lulled to sleep, stay in front of them. That's when you get caught. So we just got to be on our P's and Q's.
Awesome stuff. Thanks so much, gentlemen.
Jake.
Hey guys, how you doing? Dovlet, let me start with you. Obviously, rematch from years ago. One of the few losses on your record. So is this one you've been sitting on for a long time, have been really wanting this rematch for years?
Давлет, у вас эта история уже тянется давно. Первый бой у вас был. Это твое одно из поражений. Этот реванш ты давно уже хотел сделать, чтобы Кори победить?
Да, конечно, я в тот момент уже хотел, уже через 2-3 месяца. Ну, сложилось так, сложилось. В то время было, как говорится, не в мою пользу. Но мы поработали над ошибками. В этот раз у меня хороший джим, хорошие тренировки, более профессионально подхожу к этому. И, конечно, я этого хотел. Вот она и получилась. Так что мы газуем, идем дальше.
Yes, of course I wanted rematch. To be fair, I wanted rematch 2-3 months after our fight. I was ready to do it. But obviously I needed to prepare. I have a better gym now. I'm a different fighter. I grew up. I've been working on myself. So I think this is the good time for us to have rematch. I'm in prime shape right now, and I'm looking forward to this one.
And then Corey, on the flip side, winning the first fight, I wonder if that gives you more confidence than normal heading into this one. And then, especially because you said rematches are the hardest fight to prepare for. So can you explain and elaborate on that?
I mean, it gives you more motivation to train harder because you say it's the rematch is a hard one to prepare for. But the good thing is, since our fight, there's been so many fights he's had. I think he's had what 7, 8 fights since our fight, maybe 9. So you got a lot of things to study and learn from. The biggest aspect is like he's gonna come on hard. You just like in the gym, you beat somebody one week, the next week they're gonna come back trying to get revenge. Well, he's had what 3, 4 years, maybe 5 years to mold on it. So he's coming back better prepared. He's fought other opponents, some similar to my height and reach. So he's gotten used to that long range. I'm sure he's got people in camp that's my reach. But the thing they don't have is no one has my cardio, no one has my movement, nobody has my pace. So he just got to stay ready. I got to stay ready and go ahead and implement my game plan to the T.
And then just one more quick one for Corey. You and Ryan Cafaro, man, you're traveling the world, Africa, Dubai. You ever going to do a PFL fight in America, or you like doing them on the road?
You were asking the wrong person. You got to ask Don Davis, the coach, somebody like that. Ask them. I would love to be in the States. But hey, if they paying, I'm going to collect. So we're going where they sending me.
That's right.
Thank you, boys.
Lorenzo.
Thanks for the time, guys. I got a question for Corey first. Corey, you've already finished one PFL tournament winner in your last fight. On October 3rd, you're going to find yourself across the smart cage from another PFL tournament winner. How does it feel knowing that your first 2 fights in PFL will be against title winners right off the bat?
I mean, I feel right at home like it should be. Well, I was a champ when I left Bellator, so why would I step back and have to fight guys working their way up for contention? These guys should be having to fight me. You know what I mean? I'm technically still the champ. They are a champ of a tournament. I'm the champ of the organization. They want to be where I am. They want to be the champ. I feel like they should have to fight me regardless. So for me to come out and fight him, it's just where it's supposed to be. The plan is falling into play the way it's supposed to happen. And just stay focused. Remember, you're fighting the top guys. You're not just fighting anybody, no Joe Schmoes, anybody that's a pushover. We got to be ready, be on our P's and Q's. Every time we're in the training camp, every time we're in the gym, we focus on fighting the best in the world. So when the fights come, we're not worried.
Right on. And Doublet, your last fight was almost 1 year ago. And now that you're set for a big rematch against Corey, has it been beneficial to have that time off from competition in order to prepare against this big fight?
Давлет, у тебя последний бой был почти год назад. С одной стороны, хорошо, что у тебя время было подготовиться, с другой стороны, может быть, простой был. Ты как считаешь, это на пользу пошло или наоборот, хотелось бы, чтобы быстрее этот бой состоялся раньше?
Я бы хотел, чтобы быстрее состоялся. Я готов был вообще на июнь, даже на раньше, но бой долго не давали. Только дали на октябрь. Да, плохо, что для меня еще долго, знаешь, время. Я не люблю это, что долго ждать. Для меня лучше, чтобы часто бои были. Я больше так, ничего страшного. На все воля Всевышнего, значит, так предписано. Если мы сейчас столько времени, значит, мы готовимся к этому бою. И в данный момент я намного уверен, что у меня хороший лагерь. У меня форма сейчас, пиковая форма. Я готов. Я знаю, что я смогу сделать, и я сделаю это.
In general, I try to stay busy. I prefer to stay busy. So ideally, I wish this fight happened in June. But hey, it's happening now. I'll take it. It's fine. I had enough time to prepare myself. I had great camp. I rested a little bit, and I think right now I'm in my peak shape. So it is what it is, and I'm ready for it.
Thank you, Bill. Can't wait for this fight.
Damon.
Two quick ones for Corey. Corey, I know you've gone through a couple of rematches in your career, and I know you've spoken very honestly and openly about like what went wrong, especially in the Jan Blachowicz fight. How much did you learn from those experiences, and to not make a mistake like that when you go against Doublet, a guy you fought and finished the last time?
I mean, both fights, like you said, the two fights between Jan and Vadim and Nemkov, I went out with the wrong mindset, and you saw it happen. Two of the biggest fights in my career. The one when I fought Jan, if I would have won that, who knows? I would have fought for the UFC belt possibly next, and I overlooked it because it happened in the past. Same thing with Nemkov. I overlooked what happened the first time 7 months ago. Came in, not saying I didn't take him as seriously, but I didn't train as hard as I should have, and it cost me. So this time we know third time's a charm. We can't let it happen again. We've been there. We've made those mistakes. If we ain't learned from it the first time or the second time, shame on me, and I shouldn't be doing this anymore. I got to go out here and keep my mind right and stay focused on the plan. And it's a new fighter. Go out there and dominate. Do what we do. Don't think about nothing that happened 4 or 5 years ago, whenever it happened. It's a whole new fight. Don't worry about none of that. You just focus on everything you did this fight camp to dominate. Now we go out here and get it done.
And I know your focus is on Doublet, but I got to ask you, Corey, because we saw the news recently that PFL re-signed your guy, Vadim Nemkov, to a new long-term deal. Was there at least a small bit of excitement there, just knowing that, like, at least there's the possibility of you finally getting that fight that I know you probably wanted more than any other fight in your career, maybe outside of John Jones?
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely a little bit of excitement, but like you said, it was short-lived. At the same time, I can't go posting, being happy and worried about him, and then forget about Doublet. The one thing right now, we got the first mission in front of me. As Frankie said the last fight, because I was talking about, we already said that we might possibly have to fight for 205 belt later this year if I win this one. And then Frankie grabbed me like, yo, what are you talking about later this year? Stop thinking about later this year. You got to worry about right now. Don't nothing else matter in this world past Saturday. And that's what it was. I saw the announcement. I thought about it for a second. And I thought, you know what? Nothing matters past this fight with Doublet. October 3rd is all we worried about. We're worried about everything else after that.
Thanks, Corey.
Marty.
First one's for Doublet. Doublet, you've been on a tear over the past 4 years. Obviously, you've had 7 wins since then. What has changed in your preparation to change, obviously, your performances in the cage?
Hi, sorry, was the question for Doublet?
Yes, yeah, for Doublet.
Please repeat. I apologize.
Yes, yeah. So, Doublet, you've been on a tear in the last 4 years. You've obviously had 7-fight win streak now. What's changed in your preparation that has led to these changes in performances in the cage?
Давлет, ты последние 4 года, у тебя победная серия идет, у тебя 7 боев победы сейчас. А что поменялось в твоей подготовке, в лагере, в команде?
Я поменял по команду, я поменял подготовку. То есть мы раньше, если готовились так, туда-сюда бегали, а сейчас у меня есть своя команда. Я тренируюсь в одном из лучших залов. И самый лучший спарринг-партнер. Так. Ну, я, наверное, ментально поменялся и физически. Со всех сторон поменялся, скажем вот так. У меня сейчас в данный момент усилил все свои навыки. Так что посмотрим, как что будет в бою. Я думаю, мой результат показывает лучше, чем мои слова.
A lot of things changed. I think I'm completely different fighter this time because back then we used to do kind of makeshift camps. There was no consistency. Everything was changing all the time. So now I have new home. I have my new team. It's the best team in the world. I have great sparring partners. I grew up a lot. Now it's more organized in my head. Things are coming together. So yeah, a lot of changed, and I think I'm on the roll because of that. It's just consistency, and I'm just working hard nonstop.
Thanks. And the last one to Corey. Corey, you've proved throughout your career that you're both elite at heavyweight and light heavyweight. Obviously, this fight is for the light heavyweight title. You said that you're just concentrating on this fight, but obviously it must excite you that you can potentially be a double champ if this one goes well and you want to get another strap at heavyweight.
Yeah, but we have to worry about that after this fight. That's an opportunity. We know that's there. To be honest, you think about the last performance against Dennis Gossoff, he was the #1 contender at heavyweight. They said the last champs get the crack at the heavyweight belt. Well, I defeated him, so 100% you would think 100% I should be in line next for that at the heavyweight title as well. But we're not really worried about that. We're going to worry about this fight and we go from here. Who knows? We could win this fight. It could be a quick finish with unscathed. And they want me to fight the winner of the PFL heavyweight, Carlos Jr. sooner. We don't know. We just have to wait. But right now, I'm focusing on this, and that's all that matters.
And we are too. It's going to be an amazing co-main event. Remember, 5-round battle between these two warriors right here, Doublet and Corey. Gentlemen, thank you for the time. We will see you October 3rd in Dubai. All right, gentlemen? Thank you very much, Corey. Appreciate the time, brother. All right, we're going to move it on to the final two fighters that'll come on. And, of course, last but not least, simply known as the rematch. These two gentlemen put on an absolute fight of the year candidate back in January, and they are all set to do it again. This is the fight that everybody wanted. This is the fight that all you media members wanted and kept asking me about it every single fight. Now you guys have it on October 3rd, and we'll get Usman on. So, of course, Usman Nurmagomedov and the man you see on the screen right now, Paul Hughes. So while we're getting Usman on, Paul, I'm going to start with you. Even though you lost the last fight, you won with the people. Everybody wants to see this rematch. How badly are you looking forward to getting back into the smart cage with Usman?
I couldn't be looking forward to anything more.
Are you hearing
me? There he is.
All right, we'll hold on 1 second. Usman, you're Alex, if you can let him know he's on mute. We'll need him to hit that mute button and then turn his camera just a little bit. Sorry, Paul. We'll get right back to you, bud.
No problem, mate. Yes, very excited.
So are we. All right, looking great. Now, Alex, if you can have him hit the mute button, please.
Усман, можешь снять? У тебя микрофон заблокирован. Сними, пожалуйста, микрофон.
А я снял, и они меня заблокировали. И что мне сейчас сказать?
All right, he's good now. We can hear him now. Perfect. All
All
right, thank you guys. Hello. All right, we're going to start with Paul. Same question for you. Everybody's set now. We appreciate it. Usman, thank you. Paul, how excited are you for October 3rd?
Incredibly excited, my man. This is my life's work, so looking forward to getting that belt.
Usman, let's come over to you. We can hear you. We can see you. You look awesome. How do you plan on keeping your undefeated record intact in a rematch with a guy that took you to the absolute limit?
Как ты планируешь защитить свой титул и сохранить свой рекорд непобежденным?
Like always. Are you hearing me, guys? I don't understand. Like, you hear me or you don't hear me? Like,
yes.
I say hello, you doesn't answer to me. Maybe first of all, we're gonna be like Hello, how are you guys? Everything.
All right, Usman, hello. How are you guys? There. Alex, just let him know we've already started, and if he could just answer the question, please. Thank you.
Okay, so okay. So like always, I training so hard. This camp, it's like definitely like everything is different this time. I have a high level sparring partners. I have my team with me, and I don't. I can even imagine how I can lose this fight. You know, first fight. If I won first fight with that camp, brother, this time it's gonna be like all different in my mind, in my shape, like physically, conditionally, like everything gonna be different. And I'll show you guys this, inshallah.
We're certainly excited to see you. If it's a better fight than in January, we're all going to be in store for something really, really cool. All right, Tani, let's go ahead and open up to the media for questions.
Jake.
Hey guys, Paul, we'll start with you. When after the first fight, there's a lot of calls for a rematch. Fans wanted the rematch. There seemed to be some reluctance, hesitancy from Usman's side about taking that. Did you feel disrespected at all when they maybe didn't want the rematch?
No, I didn't feel disrespected. I think it's just business. Yeah, that's just how this game goes. But I obviously earned this rematch by getting the 42-second knockout. So it's also the fight that the fans want to see. So ultimately, that is what you must do in the sport.
And then, like, what do you do differently? Obviously, maybe the short answer is win, but are there certain things that you feel like you need to capitalize on this fight compared to the first fight?
Of course, yes. Look, I've got 5 rounds of experience in there with him now, so I have to learn as much as I possibly can from that and implement it on the night.
And then Usman, flipping it over to you, does this rematch now excite you? I'm asking because maybe at first this is one that you didn't feel like you guys needed to do. Is that true?
Yeah, honestly, first fight isn't go like how I want, how I uh, see. And this fight, everything gonna be different. Like I don't wanna talk too much, and I know he preparing his best shape. How he said, like he working like this is his all his life work, and same thing for me. I'm ready to die inside the cage. I don't care. Like if we gonna be, if I have to be die in this cage for the victory, I will be die. This is my mentality. You know, we'll see. We'll see what's gonna happen. If in fight can happen everything. You can broke your leg. You can broke your arm. You can like get some very big injury. It's not like some loss, but if you fighting and you show and other guys show like better shape, better condition, of course, then you have to work more. But for this fight, I can say only one thing: he have to be ready because of I'm coming. This is not same Usman who was January. This is different Usman, and I know he's gonna be different too. That's why I think this is most like one of the best fight in this year. Is gonna be one of the best fight in this year
And then
between
just
me and Paul Cruz.
one more quick, Usman. I'm just curious on your thoughts of Zubaria Tukhugov and Artem Lobov. How do you feel about that fight?
Усман, по поводу боя Зубайра с Лобовым, ты что думаешь?
I'm working. We are here together with Zubair Tukhugov and Zainukova Kasharip. Here I have Magomedov, like a whole team together. We're working here, and I see how these guys working. There is have great shape, and like this week and this and next week is gonna be very tough for us and very hard. And after that, we will show to the world how we preparing this fight.
Thank you, guys.
Sammy from DAZN.
Yes. Hello, Paul. What is your plan if you win that fight? Could you go and train in Dagestan with him?
Trilogy.
if you won that fight, you can go to Dagestan to train with him and Habib and all the team. It's the plan.
No, we need the trilogy, bro.
And what do you think that we're gonna have in that fight? Before, what did you change for to win that fight against him?
Um, minor things, minor things. Obviously, having fought 5 rounds already, there is a lot that you can take from this, but I'm under no illusion that he is going to have a different game plan and a better game plan this time, as will I. So I'm interested to see how that will clash on the night and who will perform better.
Perfect, thanks. Usman, assalamu alaikum. Just one question, please. And hello, Alex. Do you think that you can finish Paul during this fight? That the thing that you didn't do the last time?
I'm not looking for the finish. Like when you have a title shot, you should to be ready for the 5 round. Of course, in fight can happen everything. If I will be some opportunities, like of course I'll try to finish, but I'm preparing for the 5 round. I'm doing very good job, and I'm working very hard for this fight, and everything going well. Alhamdulillah.
Gabriel.
Yeah, first question for Paul. Paul, obviously, you go through the hard work of the first fight. It is a very close one, but doesn't go your way. Now you've been waiting. Is there ever a bit of fatigue? Like you've been asked about Usman, you've been expected to fight Usman, and it's just been such a long time. How do you keep yourself sharp to stay focused on just one guy for such a long period of time?
To be honest, it doesn't take any excess energy. If anything, it gives me more energy preparing for such a big opportunity and such a difficult task and fighting him. I also have experience in my Cage Warriors days. I had a rematch for a world title fight, and I spent about maybe 18 months preparing to rematch an opponent that I previously fought. So I've been in this territory before, and I've also came on top in this territory before.
And then question for Usman. Obviously, your team is very celebrated for how well they do. When you have a close fight with, like you did with Paul, what kind of talks do you have to improve and to do better in the gym following such a close fight?
Усман, вопрос тебе. Вот был близкий бой. После того, как бой прошел, вы разбирали как-то в зале результаты, работу над ошибками делали? Как вы подходите к этому бою второй раз?
Yes. We know our mistakes. I know my mistakes, and of course, I know my mistake better than someone. And I have corners, like my coaches. We are watching. I watch like maybe 10 times this fight. I see a lot of my mistakes. I see a lot of something what I have to change, and of course we work on it. We are, but more focus not for the what he doing good, but our focus to be on our best shape and be better than I was before, and that's it.
Thank you.
Sean, Gian.
Hi. First question for Usman. The first fight between yourself and Paul was generally looked at as the greatest fight in PFL history, and everyone wanted an immediate rematch. It's 251 days since that first fight. Paul has fought since then, and he's kind of alluded to that were kind of reluctant to take the rematch. Why has it taken so long, and why were you reluctant to rematch the biggest fight that's ever been in PFL?
У вас был
Переведи,
первый
да.
У вас был первый бой очень уникальный, бой года, можно сказать. С того времени у Пола уже был один бой, у тебя пока не было, и было мнение, что хотели как можно быстрее этот бой сделать. Было ли какое-то у тебя нежелание с ним драться, или это просто так сложилось?
Ну, такого нежелания с ним драться, такого нет. Мне, честно, вот если честно, You hear me, guys?
Yes.
Okay, давай я на русском отвечу. Такого нежелания прям с ним драться не было. Мне, в принципе, без разницы, с кем подраться. Кого мне дадут, я с любым подерусь. У меня нету такого, что я могу выбирать в этой лиге какого-то себе соперника. Я чемпион, и кого поставят против меня, я со всеми буду драться. Мне без разницы, хоть это Пол или хоть это вообще кто бы там ни был. Отправьте мне контракт, отправьте мне дату, я подготовлюсь, выйду на ринг и покажу все, на что я способен и почему я лучший в мире.
No, I wasn't reluctant to rematch him. It's just the way things played out. I don't pick my opponents. Whatever the league, the matchmakers tell me, that's what I follow. I just train hard, and it just played out to be this way. So I was ready to go whenever.
And just a question for Paul as well. Paul, obviously you put out on social media the other day about the boxing match in Windsor Park. Obviously you've already said the word trilogy here. If you win this fight, obviously we have John Mitchell, we have Kalen and Artem too. Is that your dream for your next fight to be Windsor Park in a stadium, first ever PFL fight in a stadium representing Ireland? And how big is it for you to represent Ireland as well and bring big time MMA back to Ireland?
Yeah, look, it means the world to kind of be carrying the torch now for Irish MMA is a great privilege and a great honor, something I don't take lightly. And with doing that, what I want to do is create these big nights for not only myself but also for my teammates, for my fellow countrymen, to bring big time MMA back to Ireland. Because why the fuck not? 23,000 people in Belfast. I think a trilogy would definitely do that. So.
Thanks, lads. Appreciate it.
Pendleton. Mike Pendleton.
Sorry, I didn't hear you guys there. Paul, obviously there's been a lot made about this fight specifically, but I think you really changed the game as a free agent coming over to the PFL. You've been in high-profile matches since the start. What would you say about your career trajectory with this company and where you plan to go with the PFL moving forward?
Well, the PFL have changed my life. They've given me a platform to show my skills to the world. They've allowed me to change my life financially also. So it's been a great move. It was a great career decision for me to go down this path because look at what I have done. Look at the big nights that I have created for the organization and also for myself. So yeah, it's been a great thing. What I foresee for the future is myself being a champion for a long time.
And Usman, for you, this is obviously the biggest matchup. We've heard all day about how this was one of the best fights in PFL history. When you take on a guy like Paul Hughes, ultimately, what do you want to achieve here with the PFL and in your future?
Что ты пытаешься достичь в своей карьере в плане в PFL и в дальнейшем? Чего бы ты хотел в итоге добиться, выступая в ММА?
Ну, я думаю, я уже добился того, чего хочет добиться Пол. И я просто хочу выступать и выигрывать. Я люблю соревнования, я люблю соревноваться, поэтому мы здесь для того, чтобы соревноваться с лучшими в мире, и все.
I think I already achieved a lot in my life. Like one of the things that Paul is trying to achieve right now. For me right now, it's just about staying active, advancing the sport, advancing MMA in my country, and just fighting the best fighters in the world.
Thank you, guys.
Paul Brown.
Just one for Paul Hughes there. So Usman it's kind of said there, he mentioned, I mean, straight after the first fight, he mentioned how he had underestimated you. And then he talked about his team there at this moment and how he's preparing. And he was talking about, in comparison to yours, he's training with all these guys who've achieved so much in the sport. For me, it kind of comes across as maybe he's maybe disregarding the level of the guys. I mean, I know the guys that you train with at Fight Academy Ireland have not achieved at the same level as of yet in their careers that Usman's team have. But there's certainly value in having a bunch of young, hungry lions who are trying to get to the top, all helping each other work their way there. So, do you feel that maybe there's a little bit of that same sort of underestimation going on with those comments?
I think maybe to a small degree that I'm still underestimated. Yeah, But, of course, it does matter who you train with. That's very important. You're only as good as your training partners. But also, when you're special, you can do special things, and that's what I am.
Okay, thanks, guys.
Jacob.
Okay, so this question is going to be for Paul. Obviously, the first fight was likely the biggest fight PFL's ever put on. Have you been able to kind of have your mind escape to the thought, like, with a win here, you become not only one of the biggest fighters in Ireland's history, but probably in all of Europe's history? Have you kind of been able to start like picturing what that's going to look like for you as your career continues to move forward, as you've taken this by storm?
To be honest, no, I haven't thought about that. I've just been focused on the fight. Now I know that there's a great deal of things comes with a victory here, but all I'm focused on is the day to day, making sure my training is absolutely perfect, making sure I'm coming in there with a perfect game plan, in perfect shape, ready to put on a perfect performance. So I will see after I get that belt, then we'll see. I know my life's going to change. Of course, it changes every time I fight. So I'm looking forward to it.
And then this next question is for Usman. In previous podcasts that I've listened to, I've heard Paul kind of mention that he thinks it may have been a mistake to not take a fight in between these two fights. Do you have any comments on what he had said about that?
Пол сказал, что одна из ошибок была то, что простой был, не было у тебя боев между вашими боями. Это может быть ошибкой для тебя. Ты так это считаешь, воспринимаешь или нет?
No, I don't think so. Because I'm training all the time. I was improving my skills. I didn't stop. And his fight with this guy, from how he finished like 45 seconds. But this guy, I think this guy not gonna give him like something, because of it was like sparring part, it was like sparring in the training gym. This guy give him two low kick, maybe something, like he knock him out, and that's it. Like, if he go with him for deep ocean, yes, then he can change. Like, he can be different fighter. Yes, I'm agree with that. But when you doing some like good shot and finish the fight, this is good too. But this is not teach you a lot. My fight with him teach him a lot and teach me a lot. Like, it was good fight. I agree with that. But now, like, I don't know why you think like that. But I have 20 fights. If you talk about experience, if you talk about fighters, I have 20 fights in my career, and I have a lot of experience amateur fighters. I'm world champion amateur, and I whole my life I fighting. I don't need to find some. I don't need fight every year 2-3 times to be in shape. I can fight 2 times or like 3 times, and this is enough for me. No. Same way, this is his opinion, and he can say that. Why not?
Thank you, guys. Look forward to it.
Will Castle.
Hi guys, hope you're doing well. This question is for Usman. How do you say that your relationship and sort of perception of Paul and the rivalry has developed since that first fight?
С последнего вашего боя твое мнение и восприятие Пола как-то поменялось? Ты его воспринимаешь по-другому или нет? Или так же? Мнение твое о нем.
Yes. Yes. I really respectful him. I really respect him. I respect his all skills, and he's a good fighter now. Because of first time I'm underestimate him, and this is like almost was big mistake. But this time I will respect him, and I will go to this fight like with respect, because of I don't want to make mistake again.
Well, also, how would you compare it to sort of the volatility of McGregor Khabib? Because obviously that rivalry had quite a big impact on like the MMA scenes in especially Ireland and Russia?
То, какой вы след оставите в ММА и как воспринимать будут ваш рематч, как ты думаешь, это как-то напоминает историю Хабиба с Макгрегором? Насколько это может в мире ММА новостей создать?
Please don't talk about this guy, okay?
Right. Okay. So is that, are you just hoping for it to be a completely separate entity?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
Are you trying to create a completely different history to the one that, it's still burned into all our minds?
We already have history, brother. We already have history. And everybody know which one we have, which history we have. And we don't need to talk about this.
I agree.
Fair enough. Cheers, guys. Look forward to it.
James.
Hi guys, first one for Paul. Obviously ahead of your last PFL fight. I know that you spent a lot of time with Carl Frampton. So can you tell me a little bit about that? And in terms of Irish heroes for you, is he up there right at the top of the people who you really, really looked up to?
Yeah, big time. I really look up to Card. I think he's a Belfast legend for sure. He's the only two-weight world champion to come out of the island of Ireland. So also in saying that, just such a nice guy as well, someone that I really respect and someone that I admire for how humble he is. So yeah, he's definitely someone that I look up to.
Perfect. And Usman, Khabib made a comment that you could be or even are greater than Ilia Topuria. I just wanted to know what your take was on that, what it was like to get a compliment like that from Khabib.
Brother, can you repeat the question?
Yeah, in an interview I heard that Khabib said that you could be even greater than Ilia Topuria. So I wanted to know what your thoughts were on that.
Кhabиб сказал, что у тебя, само собой, хороший потенциал быть более известным бойцом в будущем. Как твое мнение по этому поводу?
No, like some people see what you can see inside to you. Maybe from other side, I'm looking like, but for my opinion, I can be even better. But we'll see what's gonna happen, brother. I don't wanna spoke about like future. Let's talk about this fight.
Perfect. Thank you, guys.
Lorenzo.
Thank you both. My first question is for Usman. Usman, the first fight was obviously very close. How do you approach this rematch, knowing that there are people that thought you did not deserve?
When you call the first fight was very close, why you don't look at the judges? What they say? It wasn't close, brother. Fight. Unanimous decision. It's not close fight. Split decision. This is close fight. When you talk about like close fight, you guys first of all thinking about this, okay? I'm not losing even a round. Even that round, there is a way to take my point. I'm not lose this round. It was draw round, Honestly, I'm tired to hear like it was close fight. It was close fight. Maybe you guys wanna make me thinking about it was first like close fight, but in my mind it wasn't.
Understood. I was going to ask you if you
even Paul said he won this first fight.
Correct. Do you feel like you have nothing to prove? It's just status quo for you going into this rematch?
То есть тебе твоим нечего доказывать, да? Ты полностью уверен, что ты все показал уже.
Of course, first fight, like it wasn't close fight. I'm won, but this time I will fight like I wanna be better. I will be better. But first fight wasn't close.
Thank you very much. And for Paul, we'd be hard pressed to find a more anticipated rematch in the MMA space right now. Can you talk to us about what it feels like to be involved in such a big rivalry and knowing the level of support you have, even given the result of the first fight?
Sorry, could you say it again, please?
Yeah, this is just a highly anticipated rematch in MMA right now. What does it feel like to be part of such a big rivalry, and how does it feel to have the support that you have, even given the result of the first fight?
Yeah, it's a great feeling. I like rivalries. I think that having an adversary is a good thing because it gets the best out of you. And as mentioned earlier in the call, I had that in my Cage Warriors days, and it really elevated me to be a new fighter. So it's good to have an adversary and a very good adversary at that. So it's making me reach my highest level.
Thanks to you both. Appreciate it.
All right, I got a question from the National for Paul Hughes. How does it make you feel when Usman says that you are not on his level?
It doesn't make me feel anything. I don't really give a fuck at this point. Yeah, we're 2 weeks away. I'll do my talking then.
Thanks. Marty.
Hi, Paul. Saw you in Brussels. Obviously, your duck prop work to get this fight, but I think from the media view and from the outside view, a lot of people think obviously the first fight that's probably Usman on one of his bad days, and that was a spectacular performance from you. I just wanted your honest opinion in terms of talking about levels. What more levels do you have to unlock to make this a Paul Hughes W for the second fight?
Brother, like everything, like everything, we all have more levels to go. But I think a good thing about this is having 5 rounds of feedback because that makes it interesting, because we will each come in with different game plans. We will each learn different things from the first fight. And it's up to us to see who makes the better reads and who implements them better. And that's the game here. And that's what makes this so exciting. So that's where I will be reaching a new level.
Thanks. And then 1-2 for Usman. Usman, obviously, now that your brother Islam has moved up in weight class, do you see yourself as the best lightweight in the world?
Right now,
Right now.
um, for my opinion, I'm always best in the world in lightweight, and doesn't matter even about weights like. Um, but I don't like to talk about this.
Anyways, all the best to both of you.
Thank you.
Giancarlo?
First question here, for Paul. What did you take away from that fight against Usman the first time? And maybe what did you learn about yourself as a fighter?
Wouldn't say that I learned anything about myself as a fighter. I already knew that that was my level. I've already shown my level many a times in very high pressure situations, and that is in fact where I thrive and what I enjoy the most. I think you can tell how much I enjoy this whenever I'm doing it. So yeah, I didn't learn that much. I learned throughout my camps. I learned a little bit more about myself. I learned a little bit more about, I guess, the efficiency of my training. So yeah.
And for Usman, your coach, Javier Mendez, has spoken very highly about you. Habib has spoken very highly about you. Is there added pressure for you just to live up to, that credit and that admiration that some of your teammates have for you and the undefeated record and living up to Habib?
No, no, this is not pressure. Right now it's pressure when you woke up early morning and you find like your mother or your father dead now, or your child dead now. This is a pressure, but this is what's going on right now in Gaza. There is a pressure, brother. When we talk about pressure, like fights, it's not pressure. Fight, it's fight. You know, I'm like, I know 100%. Paul Hughes, he's not scared me. I'm not scared to him, and we are fighters. And for us to go to inside the cage and fighting, this is not pressure. This is enjoyed. But pressure is about different things.
Thanks, guys. Best of luck.
All right, guys. Last question, CJ. end us on a good note. Thank you.
Thank you. My question first for Paul, how do you envision this fight going, and what do you have to do to get this W?
What I need to do, I need to bring him to the depths of hell, of course. It's 5 rounds. This is a grueling game, but this is what I enjoy. Of course, as you've seen from my last fight, I can knock anybody out if I connect right. So, of course, that could also happen. But whatever happens, I'm ready for.
And Usman, you say you are a different beast. How has the help of having Khabib, having Islam in the gym made you a better fighter since January?
A lot, a lot. Everything is different. The aura, what we have in the gym, that is different because of first time I was alone. This time I'm with my family and with my team, and it means I have great coaches, great corners, and I'm on the right way.
All right, very good, guys. That's going to be the last answer. Paul, Usman, I want to thank you guys very much for the time today. Travel safe and
Thanks so
get over
much.
to Dubai. And
My
thank you very
pleasure.
much.
Thanks. Bye.
Can't wait for that on October 3rd. All right. Once again, thank you to everybody who made this media call possible. If you guys need anything else between now and October 3rd, obviously you can reach out to Tani and she can facilitate. If anybody needs me for anything, you can reach out to Tani. She'll facilitate. But we do appreciate the time, the support, the following of the PFLs. We continue to grow and one foot in front of the other. So thank you guys very much. Have a great day, and we look forward to October 3rd. All right. Thanks, guys. Take care.